Through majestic forests, alpine valleys and crystal-clear lakes, following the trails of wild animals, in search of rare birds, in places where no man had set a foot before. Precious, magnificent nature, in all its diversity and grandeur, in the documentary series Kazakhstan's Wildlife Sanctuaries. A few dozen kilometers away from Kokshetau city, among the endless steppes, nature created a unique oasis with healing climate, the famous Kazakhstan resort BURABAI in Kazakh. Bezel shapes of granite rocks, pine forests and clear lakes attract travelers and tourists to this place. But BURABAI is not just a holiday spot. Since year 2000, the BURABAI National Nature Park was established on the territory of BURABAI district of Akmala region. Its main objective is to maintain continuity of the ecosystem, its unique natural heritage, monuments of history and culture. Upon our arrival, the BURABAI lake greeted us with a thick milky fog. We arrived at the very moment when cold air masses from the north met with warm air of Kazakh steppes. Covered with white fog haze, the lake fascinated us with its cold beauty and grandeur. No wonder people call it all year cold, sacred lake, and poets refer to it Kumisko, silver lake. The edges of the lake surface are already covered with thin crust of ice. But for whooper swans it's not an obstacle. Feathers of waterfowl species are smeared with a layer of fat. Therefore, they don't feel cold. Whooper swans are rather large birds. Adult male weighs around 12 kilograms. But in spite of their weight, they are excellent swimmers and it doesn't interrupt their flying abilities. Powerful wings with strong muscles and large flight feathers allow them to gain more speed and height in a very short time. By the way, swans are able to fly for a very long time without stopping. Whooper swans are registered in the Red Book of Kazakhstan. Just a few decades ago, prior to the establishment of the protected zone, almost all game animals and birds were completely swept away from this area. It used to be a home for wolverines, deer, Siberian ibex and herds of wild donkeys. At the moment, national park employees are trying to restore the population of lost species. Scientists have attempted to reintroduce merles, red deer, that used to inhabit these areas. They were brought here from Katon-Karagai district of East Kazakhstan. Later on, an Askanian deer hybrid species was also introduced into these woods. They were placed into a large cage so that they could adapt to local environmental conditions. In the wild, Sika deer are usually shy and cautious. Several deer had stopped at the edge of the forest when we came, and warily followed every movement of strangers. However, living in enclosure practically tamed them. They are not too afraid of humans. Employees of the national park feed animals regularly. Having heard the voice of the ranger, deer rushed to the trough. Raw deer, wild boars and small animals come here. It's not as easy to feed so many animals. However, park rangers were not caught off guard with the early winter coming. They were preparing for cold and snow winter all summer long. We are ready for the winter. Sufficient amount of hay, twigs and necessary amount of concentrated nutrients were stocked in advance. Preventive veterinary measures were also taken. This time of the year, deer fur darkens, becomes brownish-gray, neck muscles swell. These are the first signals of male's readiness to mate. During the rutting season, stags form harems, and number of females depends on how many of them stag is able to defend. Usually the harem consists of 5 to 7 hinds. Stags roar loudly during the season and can be heard from a long distance. Our hinds are well fed as well as stags. I think the rutting is going well. We expect abundant offspring.
Он пройдет на должном уровне, и мы ожидаем хорошего приплода.
During winter, when temperature falls low enough, animals have to spend almost the whole day eating to retain the proper energy levels. Main sources of nutrients for deer and marrow are herbs, grains and legumes. During winters, they feed on fallen leaves, shrubs, pine needles, acorns and chestnuts. Like any other deer, they need salt in their ration. Thanks to the efforts of the staff of the national park, woodlands of BURABAI became a real home for deer.
На каждом олене есть.
Each deer has a tag in its ear, which indicates its register number. We are monitoring the age of the animal and conduct laboratory testing of each specimen.
Лабораторное исследование крови.
In this specially equipped enclosure over here, fearsome and ferocious forest inhabitants, wolves, live. This spring, the staff of the park accidentally stumbled upon a hidden den with 9 cubs. It is a challenging task to notice it between stony weeds, overgrown with moss. A curious cub was the one to reveal the location of the habitat of wolf pack. We were able to indicate where the family lived, and despite the danger of mother wolf returning any moment, rangers took all 9 puppies out of the den. They are almost 6 months now. Wolves have excellent appetite. They feel good. The only disadvantage is that wolves that grew up in captivity have already been accustomed to the smell of man. They are not afraid of humans, and therefore it is not possible to release them into the wild again. This year, the number of wolves had significantly surpassed that of previous years. It is a big threat for the natural balance. In recent years, these predators were attacking even livestock. Therefore, wildlife officers, with the help of rangers, search for wolves' habitats, studying the causes of the progressive growth of the predators' population. These cubs are not dangerous, but when they grow up, their animal instincts will be awoken, though they are not going to be allowed to do harm in the forest. In order to do that, wolves will be distributed among reserves on territories where they are going to be kept in enclosures, some kind of zoo corners. The fauna of the region is very diverse. There are more than 300 mammal species on the territory of the BURABAI Nature Park. Apart from wolves, predators are represented by foxes, Cossack foxes, badgers, weasels, martins, lynxes. Hoofed inhabitants include roe deer, wild boars and elks. The area of the national park amounts to 83,511 hectares. The area includes mountains, forests and natural ponds. Dozens of freshwater lakes sparkle like a pearl necklace under the blue sky. Borovое, Lebezhye, Karasye, Shchutye, Svetlaya, Bolshoye and Malaya Chibachye lakes, Kotur-Kul, to name few. Pikes, breams, perches and carps can be found in transparent and clear waters of those lakes. The nature is beautiful here at any given season. Pines grow on cliff sides above the lakes. It's amazing how they have adapted to grow on the slopes of the mountain, in the crevices of cliffs, among the piles of granite stones. Birches, yellow acacia, cherry trees and elms grow well in this area too, while currants, raspberries, cranberries are also abundant on the glades of the forests. Local forests have diverse variations of herbs and mushrooms. Kokshetau Mountains form an elongated 35 kilometers long mountain range to the west. The highest point, Kokshe Mount, is also known as Sinyuha, Blue Mountain. Its height is 887 meters above sea level. To the south, there is a Mount BURABAI. The whole panorama of the mountain range can be observed from here. Shchuchinsk Hills are located further to the south. The highest hill is called Jeke Batur. It reaches 826 meters above sea level. Burabai is a part of the ancient ecosystem in Kazakhstan. After all, Kokshetau Hill is situated on the bottom of an ancient ocean. Granite slabs stacked during prehistoric times were created under the pressure of the water weight. They used to be covered with dense forests of corals and algae. The process of mountain formation at the end of the Ice Age turned what used to be once the sea surface into a picturesque landscape surrounded by steppes. Under the influence of water, wind and sun, nature had created better mountain relief. These rock masterpieces provoked the emergence of many myths and legends. Mysterious symbol Zhumbaktas in the middle of the Blue Lake is a unique natural sculpture. It seems to be reminding us about the dilapidation of human life. Profile of a beautiful young girl alternates with the old person's image on the other side. Legendary Okjek Pes rock can be seen on the threshold of the sacred lake. Legend narrates that long time ago a Batur lived in this area. He was so strong and tall that an arrow shot up in the skies by his spears could not reach up to his chest. Therefore, he was called Okjek Pes, the one unreachable with an arrow. During his life, he became a legendary figure and performed many feats. The name Burabai comes from the word bura, camel. People kept a poetic parable about the camel, which lived in the vicinity of Kokshetau. It peacefully grazed on the slopes of the mountain. But any time, having sensed the approach of enemy troops, it flew to the mountain top and with the loud roar warned people of impending danger. One of the rocks of Kokshetau mountain range resembles a Bactrian camel from this beautiful legend. Eternally alluring, surrounded with legends, the nature of this region has inspired many poets, musicians and artists. A Kazakh photographer Farhad Kabdikairov, together with his assistant Alik Mahmutov, decided to capture the beautiful moments of fading nature of Sinigoria. This team has traveled through almost all reserved corners of Kazakhstan. But BURABAI is a place of special beauty for them. Observational skills of the master resulted in an interesting and unusual picture story. The most wonderful property of the natural oasis lies in the healing aroma of pine trees. Some regions of central Kazakhstan also have a similar landscape and pine areas, but only here you can really feel the fragrance of the forest. The air is saturated with essential oils of pine needles. Such natural power forest boosts people's health and energy. This is why the territories of the national park are equipped with holiday homes and resorts. People rest here both in winters and during summers. Incidentally, the summer days here are 2.5 hours longer than in the south. And the heat is very specific here, without stuffiness, with mild lukewarm. During the Great Patriotic War, 16 Soviet academicians were evacuated and brought here. World-famous scientists Zelinsky, Favorsky, Berg, Ilinsky were among them, as well as one of the outstanding scientists and thinkers of that era, academician Vladimir Vernadsky, the founder of the doctrine of the noosphere. The memories of these great scholars are cherished and preserved in documents of the Regional Museum of BURABAI National Park.
Ученые занимались и своей научной работой. Помимо всего этого, они изучали наш край.
Scientists were engaged in research and studied our region. Vladimir Ivanovich Vernadsky's noosphere was discovered while he was here. Initial findings and formation of the concept of noosphere took place in BURABAI. Our region surprised them. They always admired nature, and Vernadsky used to say, "It is so easy to write and breathe at the heart of such nature." In a few weeks, winter will fully take charge of these areas. The water on lakes will freeze, Silence will fill forests, and all this has its own charm. It's time for our mission to head to the next journey, pursuing new stories about the wildlife of Kazakhstan.